Okay, so let's talk about the island of Hispaniola. It's this one piece of land in the Caribbean, but it's home to two nations that could not be more different. This is the incredible story of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, a story of how two neighbors sharing the same soil ended up living in completely different worlds.
Just look at this. I mean, this is a view from space of the border between them. On the right, you've got the Dominican Republic, all green and vibrant, and on the left, it's Haiti. It's brown, it's barren. This isn't just a line on a map. It's an environmental scar so deep you can see it from orbit. And it just makes you wonder, how did it get this way?
And that visual divide you just saw, well, it goes so much deeper. The numbers really tell the story here. The average person in the Dominican Republic earns 5 times more than someone in Haiti. They live almost a decade longer. And poverty, while it's definitely a problem in the DR, it's a crushing reality for an unbelievable 80% of Haitians. So this is about way more than just trees. It's about people's lives.
So that leads us to the big question, the one we're going to unpack right now. How did this happen? How do you get two such different worlds on one small island? Well, the answer isn't simple. It's a tangled web of history, politics, and the environment itself. So let's pull on those threads.
To really understand where they are today, you have to go all the way back to the beginning, because these two countries started on completely different footing, especially when you look at the unbelievable price Haiti had to pay just for its freedom.
So back in 1804, Haiti did something absolutely incredible. Through the only successful slave rebellion in history, they kicked out their French colonizers and created the world's very first independent Black republic. It was this amazing symbol of freedom. But that freedom came with a price tag that would cripple the nation for centuries.
And here it is. This is the price. In 1825, France sails a fleet of warships right up to Haiti's coast and basically says, recognize your independence for 150 million francs. This wasn't a deal. It was an ultimatum. Pay us or we will invade and re-enslave you. And to give you an idea of how insane that number was, it was about 3 times the size of Haiti's entire economy at the time.
Yeah, and let's be clear about what this was. As legal experts point out, this was just straight-up extortion. France was forcing the formerly enslaved people of Haiti to pay reparations to their former masters for the property they lost. And by property, they meant the people themselves. It was an absolutely brutal and unheard-of demand.
This debt became like an anchor chained to Haiti's economy. They had to take out massive loans from French banks just to make the initial payments. The amount was eventually lowered, but it took until 1947, 122 years, for Haiti to finally pay it off. Think about that. For over a century, any money that could have gone to building schools, roads, or hospitals was instead sent straight to France.
So as we move into the 20th century, you have Haiti struggling under this impossible financial weight. And at the same time, the two nations start down these radically different political roads, which just makes that gap between them even wider.
Haiti's story from here on out is filled with constant political instability, one coup after another and foreign interventions. Then you have the brutal Duvalier dictatorships, which caused a massive brain drain. All of the country's best and brightest, its doctors, engineers, and teachers, they just fled. Now, the Dominican Republic had its own terrible dictator, Trujillo, but by the 1990s, it managed to find some political stability. And that stability, it opened the floodgates for foreign investment and the tourism industry that powers its economy today.
So these different historical and political paths, they didn't just affect the people, they literally changed the shape of the land itself. The economic desperation in Haiti and that top-down control in the DR, well, that's what created the environmental divide we saw in that very first image.
In Haiti, because of the extreme poverty, people were forced to cut down trees on a massive scale just to make charcoal, which is their main source of fuel. This led to just catastrophic soil erosion. Meanwhile, over in the Dominican Republic, you had these authoritarian leaders who, despite the brutality, enforced really strict conservation policies. They banned slash-and-burn farming, they created national parks, and they basically protected their nation's forests.
And this difference in the landscape, this is where it becomes a real matter of life and death. In 2004, a powerful hurricane, Hurricane Jeannie, tore across the entire island. It hit both countries.
The results are just staggering. In the Dominican Republic, where forests helped absorb the rain, 19 people died, which is still a tragedy, of course. But in Haiti, with its bare hillsides offering no protection, the storm caused enormous mudslides and floods. Over 3,000 people were killed. Same storm, same island, but a world of difference in the outcome.
There's a term for this, it's called disaster vulnerability. It basically means that a natural event like a hurricane only becomes a massive human catastrophe because of the conditions on the ground. A perfect example is the horrific 2010 earthquake in Haiti. The World Bank pointed out that before it hit, Haiti had no national building code. None. So buildings were put up with zero safety standards, which is a huge reason why the death toll was so tragically high.
And all of this, the history, the politics, the environment, it all leads us directly to the profound crisis that Haiti is facing at this very moment.
Right now, Haiti is in a state of near-total collapse. Armed gangs have taken over huge parts of the capital city, the government can barely function, and basic services have just disappeared. It's really the tragic climax of these centuries of struggle.
Now, the international community does have a recovery plan in place with Haiti's government. But here's the reality check. The plan needs about $644 million for the next couple of years. But look, there's a funding gap of over $360 million. More than half of the money that is desperately needed simply isn't there yet.
And the plan itself just shows you the scale of what they're up against. Before you can even begin to talk about long-term development, step one is just restoring basic security. It's an absolutely monumental task that requires fixing security, the economy, infrastructure, and social services, all at the same time.
So it all comes down to this one crucial question. The story of Hispaniola is this incredibly powerful lesson in how the long shadow of history shapes today. From that crushing independence debt to these different paths in politics and how they treated their land, all these factors are deeply woven together. The challenge for Haiti isn't just about recovering from this one crisis. It's about breaking a cycle that started centuries ago. And the question of whether that's possible? Well, that's the unanswered question for the future of the entire island.